What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen, today we're going to be building a Dillon Danis UFC run. Okay, so let's just say that Bellator folds. Dillon Danis folds Logan Paul via doctor stoppage TKO 50-45 on some Bilal type shit, right? Then he gets signed by the UFC. Here's what I realistically think is not going to happen. I don't think he's going to get thrown in straight away with like an Ian Gary or a Neil Magny or a Kevin Holland, which is the guys that he mentioned. He's 2-0 in MMA. He hasn't fought in MMA for what, like 3 years, 4 years, because of some knee injuries and stuff like that. So now that that's grown back, let's get him in there. Let's build him slowly. I've got 4 fights for you today to get him into those big fight conversations. Winnable matchups that make sense, that can have some excitement involved in them as well. And let's just get straight into it. Let's say Dillon Danis signs a 4-fight contract to start off his UFC career. Okay, first thing I want to do, let's just say Dillon Danis goes on the Contender Series. He gets a W or maybe 2 Ws because they'll do like the Bo Nickel to him, alright? Hopefully he wins those fights via leg lock or something like that, something easy. UFC debut for Dillon Danis. I want to put him in there against Josh Quinlan, okay? In the welterweight division, Josh Quinlan, he's 1-1 in the UFC. He's had a crazy knockout in his debut, and then he lost his last fight. He gassed out, so he's not a very high level fighter. I think he's like under 15 fights in his career. So let's just say Dillon Danis is 4-0, and Josh Quinlan's got whatever record he's got. He's got good power, but you can believe that if Dillon Danis can drag him to the end of the first round or round 2, he could probably take him down, submit him, make him make a mistake and get a hold of his neck or get a hold of an arm or something like that and get a submission W. As for where I'd put this, let's just say UFC 297, UFC 298, one of those two pay-per-views. Maybe they do McGregor versus Chandler before UFC 300. I doubt it, to be honest. Let me know if you want to see me do a video about UFC 300. I can build a card for that if you guys want. But yeah, dude, let's chuck Dillon Danis on the pay-per-view. Let's put him on the opener of a shitty pay-per-view, or maybe the headline of the prelims of a pay-per-view, and let's throw him in there against Josh Quinlan. Now, let's say that Dillon Danis wins this. It'll probably be by a very early submission. All right, I'm gonna turn him straight around. I'm going to put Dillon Danis at UFC 300 or whatever card McGregor versus Chandler is on, and I'm going to put together a fight that is going to draw so much controversy, so much beef, it may start another fucking in-cage brawl, okay? I'm a genius for this matchmaking, alright? There's a man in the welterweight division that I know would love to fight Dillon Danis for all of the past history that he has, okay? I want to do Abu Nurmagomedov, not Abu Bakar Nurmagomedov versus Dillon Danis at UFC 300. This is fucking genius, dude. This is can you not see the size of my brain, bro? You got whatever this guy's name is, the Nurmagomedov dude versus Dillon Danis at UFC 300. If McGregor's on the card, Danis is there with him. Obviously, Khabib's, I think he's his brother or his cousin, but Abu Bakar against Danis, he's kind of the runt of the litter of the Khabib team, so he's a winnable matchup. He's been submitted before in the UFC. He still has a good record. He's still a dangerous opponent. He could beat Dillon Danis, and that would start another fight in the cage, but I feel like the mix of controversy, clash of jiu-jitsu versus Dagestani wrestling. But you know that it's winnable. You've seen Nurmagomedov get submitted before in the welterweight division. We're not putting him in there against fucking, Islam or something like that he has no shot, right? We're putting him in there with a guy he can beat, especially if he looks impressive when he comes back to the UFC, if his striking improves at all. From the Logan Paul fight or anything like that, or what he's been doing in camp for the past 4 years. This is an interesting matchup, and this is a fight that's going to draw interest. That's what Dillon Danis does. He makes you want to watch him. So the Khabib fans, the Islam fans, they want to see him lose this fight. I know Khabib would say something about this fight. It would be a big deal. Obviously, McGregor would be very invested. I feel like this is a huge, huge money-making opportunity for the UFC with a guy in Abubakar Nurmagomedov that literally offers nothing else to the company. This is the biggest thing you can make with this guy, and I feel like this is a genius fight to do on the McGregor. This just adds so much shit. I feel like it reminds me of when Chris Avila and Adam Lobo fought on the McGregor-Diaz card. So this is kind of what I was going for. That's the fight I want to see. If he can win that, which I think he can, but I could see him losing that as well. All right, we're gonna move him on to somebody right outside the rankings. He's won 2 fights, maybe had a huge fight with Abukar Nurmagomedov, got the W against the Nurmagomedov dude, whatever his name is. I don't know. The guy's literally fucking might not even be in the UFC at this point. But if he gets that W, then let's talk about some big names. I want somebody that's gonna talk a bit of shit with Dillon Danis, right? He's fought Josh Quinlan. I have no idea what that guy sounds like. I doubt he can fucking trash talk the way that Danis can. Abubakar Nurmagomedov, the guy doesn't even speak English that well, really, so he's not gonna bring it. He's gonna bring beef, but he's not gonna bring trash talk, social media aspect to it. So we need a guy that can talk a bit of shit, that's gonna get people interested, that's gonna make call out, that's gonna make funny videos on Instagram about the fight, and you know that win, lose, or draw against Dillon Danis, he's going to make it entertaining. Even in the fight, it will be entertaining to watch him fight. So the next fight I want to do, maybe as the co-main event of a fight night or something like that, I want to do Joaquin Buckley versus Dillon Danis. This guy deserves a big fight. Can I just say, seeing Joaquin Buckley fight against Alex Morono and all the build-up that he did, the trash talk that he did, he sold that fight to me. I was more excited for Buckley versus Morono than I was for the main event. And that's because of Joaquin Buckley. So I want to just say props to this guy. He deserves a big fight. And I feel like if Dillon Danis can string together some wins in the UFC, some high-profile wins, some beef-involved wins, then let's have these two go at each other on social media. Let's build up a huge fight. I feel like this will be something that can capture the new age, the new audience's attention, and still be an interesting fight. You know, Buckley comes to swing. He's going to try and chin Dillon. Like, can you imagine if fucking Joaquin Buckley chins Dillon Danis, bro? We will never hear the end of it. It will be a highlight meme for the ages. This is a huge fight to make if Dillon can get some W's in the UFC. And if Joaquin Buckley's floating around outside the rankings in that Alex Morono, Tim Means, Ponzinibbio type area, Kevin Holland, you know, then that's a place that he belongs. And I feel like that would be a fun matchup to make in that spot. Leading up to the final fight on this contract, all right, we need to think about what happens if Dillon Danis wins these fights. If he beats Joaquin Buckley, if he beats Abu Nurmagomedov, if he beats Josh Quinlan, right? He wins these fights, he's talking shit, he's probably got like heaps of following, he's probably got a huge fan base, the UFC's probably seeing money signs every time this guy talks. We're going to get him in there in a ranked opponent. We're going to get him a fight night main event to kick off this, this contract, and then he can move on to a top. Then once this is over, he can do whatever he wants, basically. He can fight whoever he wants. If he beats these guys, he can get a title elimination bout. I truly believe that. You know, do I see all of this happening? No, but I would love to see him try. I would love to see him in the UFC. I feel like he'd make it so exciting. So the last fight I want to see, if Dillon Danis can string together those wins, I want to see a main event against Kevin Holland. This is the fight that he talked about. He said it's an easy fight for him. I do believe there's a world where he can get a hold of Kevin Holland, and get a submission. You know, Kevin Holland's been, there to be submitted in a couple of fights. I know he's a good black belt himself. He's a good grappler. We could see a random world where Kevin Holland chins Dillon Danis and then subs him. That would be crazy. There's so many outcomes that would be entertaining for the fans. That would be big business for the UFC. And I think this is a run that I would love to see. So these are the 4 fights I want to see for Dillon Danis in the UFC. Josh Quinlan, Abubakar Nurmagomedov, Joaquin Buckley, and then finishing off fight night main event. Maybe in California, maybe somewhere cool like that. Kevin Holland versus Dillon Danis. 5 rounds in the welterweight division. The winner can move on and maybe fight like Wonder Boy or JDM or somebody cool like that, or Gilbert Burns. Danis versus Gilbert Burns would be insanity in the grappling. I think on the striking, Dillon Danis would get absolutely murdered, but in the grappling, that would be very interesting to watch. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think Dillon Danis is going to win his fight against Logan Paul? Do you think he has a shot in the UFC? And if he goes to the UFC, who would you love to see him fight? I want to see all that stuff in the comments down below. Remember, boys, I'm the best matchmaker on YouTube, so if you have any matchmaking requests, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I do live streams. I do the matchmaking. I do predictions. I do all the cool stuff. I got the PowerPoints. I'm a very informative guy. I'm the best editor. So let me know what you want to see down below. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video, boys. Goodbye.